Kentucky Fried Chicken. What is the first thing that comes up to your mind? You would probably think of some American fast food chain, probably unhealthy. But for me, it is what haunts me. So now you're thinking, she's weird. So before I start my story and give you any context, I want to mention two things to you. So the first thing is that, do you have any regrets in life? Something you wish you could have done but can no longer do? Or something you wish you could say to someone but no longer have the chance to? My mom used to tell me that regret is the worst form of torture to a human being, and I never really understood. So the second thing I want to mention is that I'm sure every one of us sitting here in this room has something that haunts them in their life. Whether it's the idea of failing a class or the idea of losing a hair tie. The idea of fear is always surrounding us. So now back to the story. On an evening of 7th grade, my family, my mother, my sister, my father, and I went to a restaurant to celebrate Mother's Day. My father had that night all planned out, with our tables situated right by the harbor, overlooking the Hong Kong skyline, and a set menu of my mother's favorite dishes. So kind of like the idea of a perfect date, but with me and my sister there. And as we headed home that night, it felt just like an ordinary night with my family. And as I sat in my room, on my laptop, I began to wonder why my father did not come in to check on me like he would always do at night. So I left my room, headed towards his, and midway I had a feeling to check on the guest room, and as I pushed open that door, I saw him lying there unconscious, with his eyes gazing at me for help, and that was an image I will never be able to forget. So at that point, my mind went blank with only one thing flashing. The amount of times that past week he's asked for me to have KFC with him. He mentioned something about growing old, not having regrets, and reliving my childhood memories with him. And of course, to me, it sounded dumb, so I would either change the topic or just simply ignore him. And as I sat in the ambulance with him, I held his hand and repeatedly told him that I was sorry. And at that point, I knew that this wasn't going to be any good news, and no amount of apology is going to make him okay. And as I reached the hospital, I was told that he had 1% chance to live. How can someone that was so healthy just an hour ago be gone just like that? How was I supposed to wrap my head around this, and how was I supposed to deliver this news to the rest of my family? Who's going to sit in the car and wait until my school ends? Who's going to sit there and listen to me play the guitar and tell me to never give up? No one. There's nothing I could possibly do at that point to bring him back. And what about all the times he's asked for me to sit in the dinner table to enjoy a few pieces of fried chicken with him? And now I won't even have the chance to do that. Something as simple as enjoying a meal with our parents, us people take for granted. At least I took for granted. I finally understood what my mother meant when she told me that regret is the worst form of torture to a human being. I understood. And now I won't even have the chance to tell my father that I love him. And what about all the times, and every time I pass by a fast food chain, I cannot help but remember the times when my sister and I were young and would beg him to take us to KFC. This Kentucky Fried Chicken is what haunts me most. And now when I think about what he said about not having regrets, growing old, and reliving my childhood memories with him, it made sense. I wondered if he knew his life was going to come to an end, and if that was why he asked me that many times to have dinner with him. Because if he did, and I still reacted that way, I am the epitome of the worst child in the world. So I am standing here now telling you to call your parents, to tell them that you love them, to appreciate and cherish the time you have with them, because by the time you realize that you can no longer do that, it will be too late. And this form of regret will follow you for the rest of your life. I had to go through this feeling of guilt and regret, and I would not wish that upon anyone in this room today.